So first of all, I am actually really excited to be here, back at my second home. I haven't been on campus in a really long time, so it's neat to get to walk over from the parking garage. Kind of reminisce, brings back good memories. I'm also very honored that I was asked to come and talk to you guys. I had quite an experience trying to muddle through this topic when I was in college, so I hope that I can give you guys some advice about it today. To start with, I'll tell you a little bit about myself. My name is Shannon Wooten. I am a speech language pathologist and a certified brain injury specialist. That's what all those letters mean. And I work at Clear Lake Regional Medical Center. I graduated in 2012 with my Bachelor of Science in Communication Sciences and Disorders. I graduated in 2014 with my Master's in the same topic, Communication Sciences and Disorders. So how many of you know what an SLP is? One. What's an SLP?
A speech language pathologist, and they study not only like speech disorders, but as well as like dysphagia and like swallowing disorders, and they can work with the children, they can work with the elder, anybody that just
Okay,
needs.
and how do you know?
My best friend is one.
No, okay, very good. Do I have any ComD majors in here? No, I didn't think so. Okay. Well, ASHA, who is our national governing body, defines an SLP as a person who works to prevent, assess, diagnose, and treat speech, language, social communication, cognitive communication, and swallowing disorders in children and adults. So clear as mud, right? Okay. So for me, I work in a hospital setting. So what this job looks like for me is that I typically see adults who have had strokes or brain injuries or some sort of head and neck cancer. And as a result, they have difficulties speaking, or they have difficulties understanding language. Maybe they have cognitive deficits, they have trouble with memory, reasoning, or they have swallowing issues. And so those are the people that I see, the population that I work with in my job. I am a 2007 UH Terry Scholar. And when I entered U of H, I was an electrical engineering major. And now you're all thinking, wait a minute, you just said you're a speech language pathologist, you're not an engineer. Right. So clearly, the major I started with was not the major I ended up with. But you're in luck, because that's what I'm here to talk to you about today. So my goals for my talk today, I want to tell you a little bit about my journey, my struggle through trying to decide what to major in and what my career should be. I want to encourage you to find out what it is you love to do and to pursue that, even if that means changing your major. And I want to give you some tools to help you in this process. So those are my goals for today. Okay, so how did I choose electrical engineering? Well, I really loved to write as a kid, and in high school I decided English majors don't make a lot of money, and I guess that was very important to me at the time, because I said I'm going to do something else. Well, I'm pretty good at math. Okay, good start. My dad works at NASA. NASA's cool. Okay, I'm going to work at NASA. So I worked at NASA as a co-op my senior year of high school. It was awesome. I worked in a manager's office, so I learned a lot about being a manager, not about being an engineer. But all the best managers at NASA started as engineers. So I said, all right, I'm going to do that. Eeny, meeny, miny, mo, I'm going to be an electrical engineer. How successful do you think I was based on that method? Not very successful. All right, so sort of an overview. Just sort of kind of the process I went through. Spent a couple of years doing engineering, decided it wasn't for me, changed to education, still wasn't quite the right fit, changed to communication sciences and disorders, took an extra couple of semesters, but I got my degree, and then I graduated in 2014 with my master's degree. All right. Okay, so what happened? Actually, can you go back to that slide? So I want you to notice, I changed my major twice. Not once, twice. Okay? I did take 2 extra semesters. Terry only pays for 8, I took 10. But in the end, I ended up in a career that I absolutely love. And that's the take home. All right, so what happened? How did I get here? I was very successful in high school, like most of you, graduated in the top of my class, loved to learn. I was also a first-generation college student, which a lot of you are in that boat as well, which meant I was very unprepared and very naive about what college was and what it meant to go to college and what it meant to study in college, and so I made a lot of rookie mistakes. I decided I took calculus in high school, I can ace this class, no big deal, I don't even have to go to class, don't have to do the homework, I can just have a good time with all my Terry scholars. So I did, but I also ended up on academic probation because that doesn't work in college. In case any of you freshmen are wondering, it doesn't work. And so I had a little trouble and decided I needed to have some tutoring, kind of get some help, figure out why it was I'm not doing well, because I'm so used to doing well. So I'm feeling a little frustration with myself at this point. So I get some tutoring. This info is still not sinking in. It's just not clicking with me. I don't understand it. I'm not enjoying it. I finally call home in the middle of the night. It's like 2 o'clock in the morning. This is a parent's worst nightmare, right? I call home and say, Mom, I think I'm going to quit college. She said, you're going to do what? You have a scholarship that's paying for your school and you're going to just quit? I don't think so. Choose something else. So I started looking into, okay, well, if I can't quit, what else can I do? But I really felt like quitting my major or changing my major meant that I was quitting, which meant that I was a failure. And so I really struggled with accepting the fact that it was okay to change my major. It is absolutely okay to change your major. Does not mean you're failing at anything, but I had a plan when I came to my Terry interview, and they said, what are you going to do with your life? I had a 5-year plan, I had a 10-year plan, and if I didn't complete that plan, then I was going to be letting Mr. and Mrs. Terry down. I was going to be letting down the people who saw potential in me. That's how I felt. And so that's why it took me so long to finally get to this decision. And so finally I sort of reached out to Jody Kosigi, who was the academic advisor here at U of H at the time, and said, I need help. I need something. I don't know what I need, but this isn't working for me and I need to do something else. And that is a big step. If you're finding that you're in this situation, get help. Whether that's talking to a friend, talking to an academic advisor, going to a career center and seeking some career counseling, ask for help. Because it is okay to change your major, and it's not something that you should be ashamed of or feel like a failure because of. All right. So I changed my major to education because I went to the career center and took a career aptitude test. And they are very different than the ones online, because the career aptitude test that I took online said I should be a janitor. Which only reaffirmed the fact that I should quit college. Not the same with the career aptitude test that you take at the career center. So basically what they looked at there are, they look at, okay, what are your strengths? What are you good at? What skills do you have? Not what major are you good at, but what skills are you good at? And then they also look at what do you enjoy? What things do you like? And then they kind of say, okay, based on this information, let's kind of look at what career fields sort of play into that. So some of the things that I really like are teaching others. I like working directly with people. Engineers don't do a lot of that. So that was clearly not a good fit for me. And so I changed to education because it seemed like being a teacher was helping kids, it's teaching people. There's a lot of flexibility because I wanted to be a mom one day. And so it seemed like a good fit. So I got over there and I had a lot of academic success. It took 21 hours, I made a 4.0, I'm feeling really good about myself. But I still didn't love the job. Did some observations at a school and it just wasn't the right fit. So I started saying, okay, I changed my major once, maybe I can do it again, let me look and see what else is out there. So I continued on the plan, but didn't love it. And then I met Ben. I worked at the Rockwell at U of H, and I met Ben there, and he was born hearing but became deaf at a very young age. And so he can't hear language, and yet he speaks very clearly. And so well that you can correct his pronunciations of words. And that was amazing to me. And so I started asking him, how can you talk so well if you can't hear? Like, how does that make any sense whatsoever? And the more I asked questions, he told me that he went to speech therapy as a kid, and it was just really intensive, and it did a lot of good. And so, you know, he could talk now. So I said, cool, let me figure out how to do that. I thought it was sort of like a special ed teacher. My brother went to speech when he was in school, so I said, okay, I'll get a special education certification along with my teaching certification. Well, when I started researching it, I found out that is actually not the right path. There is a whole field for speech and communication that doesn't only include speech and communication, but also includes swallowing and cognitive disorders. They don't just work at schools, they don't just work with kids, they work with adults, they work in nursing homes, they work in hospitals. I mean, whole new world. Never knew this existed. So I put together a plan and, sure enough, changed my major again. But this time, I was really, really confident in my choice. This was a field that melded together everything that I really wanted, everything that I really loved, and everything that I was really good at. I have a deep desire to help others. I get to do that in this field. I get to make a difference in someone's life. Maybe not every day, but largely I get to make a difference in people's lives. I have a curiosity and a passion for science and learning new things, and there is a lot of science in speech. There's also a lot of flexibility because I wanted to be a mom, and there's lots of options, and you're not stuck in one particular area. And so I said, hey, this looks like an awesome plan. I went over to the academic advisor in the department, and I said, here's my plan. This is what I'm doing. No questions, this is what I'm doing. And sure enough, they were okay with it. And they let me change, and I have not looked back since. So, all right, so what does all this mean for you? If you've been listening to this story and you're like, hey, I kind of feel like that, to some degree, it means you're not alone. The National Center for Education Statistics in November of 2013 did a survey and found that 80% of U.S. college students changed their major at least once. And on average, they changed their major 3 times. Engineering, education, ComD. So what does that mean? It means I'm a statistic. 28%, about 28% of students enter in the STEM field, science, technology, engineering, mathematics. About half of those who entered between 2003 and 2009, that would be me, left by spring of 2009. That would also be me. About half of them left because they changed majors. About half of them left because they ended up ultimately not finishing college and getting a degree. And then 42% of college students leave education as a major. So I'm a statistic, but it also means you're not alone. Lots of people do this. Lots of people come into college thinking, I want to do this or that, and realize maybe that's not the right choice for me. Or maybe you come in and you have absolutely no idea what you want to do, and that's okay. It's normal that you change your mind. You're in a time in your life where you're learning a lot about yourself, you're learning a lot about the world, and you have a lot of resources and information and knowledge at your fingertips, and it is absolutely a time to explore yourself and your desires and what jobs and things are out there. So here's some advice from others. If you don't love it now, it should say now. If you don't love it now, you won't love it 3 years from now. It's true. Go see a career counselor and an academic advisor before you do anything else. Do what makes you happy. If you start down a path and realize it's not for you, make a change before it's too late. Don't be afraid to change. Changing sooner is better than changing later. And my favorite, one change in the first couple years of your adult life could mean happiness for the rest of your life. And that's why this is so important. Because, you can go ahead and finish this up. because ultimately your job is a large part of your adult life, and therefore it's a large part of your happiness. And it doesn't seem like that big of a deal right now, but it is. So here are some tools for success. If you feel like you are in the situation that I was and you don't feel like the major that you're in is the right fit for you, here are some tools. First of all, ask for help. You have a lot of resources readily available to you in college that you will never have available at your fingertips the way you do. Use them. Go to the Career Center, take a career aptitude test, talk to advisors, go talk to professors, because a lot of times professors have worked in their field before they became a professor, or sometimes in addition to being a professor. Talk to upperclassmen who have taken those upper level classes and kind of know, what does this look like a year from now? What does this look like 2 years from now? Does it sound just as awful then as it does now? Use the TAP list. Someone mentioned it earlier in y'all's meeting. I don't remember what TAP stands for. Sorry guys. I'm on the TAP list though. Basically it's a list of Terry alumni who have offered up their availability for you guys to ask questions about careers, about college, about anything. Use that. It's a way that we get to give back to you, and we get really, really excited when someone contacts us and wants to ask us questions. So use that, because you're not burdening anyone by asking them a question. You're not going to ask stupid questions. We just like hearing from you guys. Research and explore a job when you feel like you think you've found one. Do some job shadowing. Find out, like on the TAP list, hey, I'm really interested in this job. Can I come observe you for a day or something like that? Sometimes working backwards works well. Find the job that you like and then figure out what major will get you there. So that doesn't always work, but it also can work that, you know, if the job that you think you want isn't what you want, then maybe the major isn't what you want. So sometimes working backwards helps. Also, think about what it is you love to do on a daily basis. What drives you? What motivates you? What things do you really enjoy? What makes you think? What gets you excited? Those are the questions you need to ask about your job and about your major, not just about life in general. Also, know that you're not going to love every aspect of your major. You're not going to love every aspect of your job. But if you hate more of it than you love, probably not the right fit. There are days when I go to work and I'm like, oh man, that was a bummer of a day. Didn't feel like I accomplished much, or maybe I had a patient say something to me that bothered me or whatever. But most days I'm excited to be able to go to work. I'm excited to be able to help people. And that's how you should feel about your job. Alrighty. And just some final thoughts. As I was saying earlier, it's important to find meaning in your work. And it's important to want to continue to learn about what it is you do. And so it's true that your job does not necessarily define your life, but it is a large portion of your life. So it's a large portion of what makes you happy in life. And so it's important to be able to find meaning in what you do on a daily basis. So because your job is important, your major is important. Because finding the right major can often set you up for success in the job that you want. And that's not always the case. There are a lot of times that people get majors and then they do a job that has nothing to do with their college major. But it is often the case that you have to have a particular major, a particular degree for a particular job. For instance, in my case, I could not have just any degree and then be a speech pathologist. I have to have the credentials, I have to have the education in this field in order to be a speech language pathologist, or at least a master's degree. Lastly, you have an abundance of resources in people, in experiences here in college. This is an important time in molding who you are and who you will be for the rest of your life. I look back and I think, wow, how much have I changed from 10 years ago when I entered college. And it's been a lot, and that's a good thing. And I've learned a lot about myself and what is really important to me, and I learned those things through my experiences in college. And so use those things. Use your fellow Terrys, use your Terry alumni, use your professors and your academic advisors and everyone that's on campus, the resources that are on campus like the Career Center and things like that. Use those things because once you get out, those things are not readily available to you the way they are now. So, all right. And I have my contact information up there in case you want to contact me if you're curious about the field of speech pathology or if you just have questions in general. So thank you guys so much for having me, and go Cougs.